Has anybody sat down with you to explain the 3 things that you need to do when buying a home? Welcome back to the Real Impact Show. I am Aaron Zapata, hanging out here with
Don Jacks. Good to be with you all today.
Yeah, welcome back. And hey, if you haven't done so already, like it, share it, subscribe to our show, either on our podcast or on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, welcome to the channel. We're excited to be here. And we've got a great show for you today. We are talking about the buyer consultation.
Buyer consultation, yes, sir.
And in fact, that lead-in question was a very simple, easy way to broach the subject with a potential buyer of saying, hey, we need to get together. So let me say it again.
Aaron, what are the 3 things I need to know? I mean, we got to jump into this. This is a hot topic right now, so I'm excited we're talking about this. What are the 3 things we need to know about our buyers?
Before we do that, though, let me just rephrase the question. The question is, and it's very, very systematic in how it's written grammatically. Has anybody sat down with you to explain? Think about how powerful that is. When we're working with buyers generally, by and large, are not very loyal.
At least that's a myth on the street, yes.
Well, to start out with, they don't know who you are.
Yeah, at that point, yes.
Right?
Why would they be?
You're doing an open house. A buyer walks in. What do? How do you build rapport, and how do you start leading them down that road that you need to go down with them for them to buy a house? So this is the kind of question.
Has anyone sat down and explained?
Yeah. What's the assumption? A, probably no, because most buyers don't do this. And most agents don't do this. And so if you're an agent listening to us, we know you're the audience that we're trying to reach.
That's right.
And we really want you to listen carefully to this, because Don and I have over 50 years of combined real estate experience working with hundreds of buyers, hundreds of sellers, and we're going to kind of break it down today and talk about that buyer consultation, and then we're going to talk about how to get a buyer's offer accepted. Sound good?
I'm ready. Let's
You're
go.
ready? You're ready? Okay.
We have points on both sides, and we want to approach it as to the why a buyer consultation is important, why we should do it, and not just run out and show 10 properties to someone we just met, right?
That's right.
We need to have a process. And then number 2, when you have that buyer, it's not a foregone conclusion that their offer is going to get accepted.
Yeah.
How do you get an offer accepted in today's market, wherever you are? And we want to talk about that from the listing agent point of view, especially those that have seen thousands of offers, hundreds lately. We want to share with you what it's going to take to be as competitive as possible in today's market.
That's right. And we have an offer for you if you're listening and you want to really grow in your business. We want to send you a copy of the buyer consultation that we use here at the Impact Realty Group.
That's right.
This is a document that we've put together and modified over the years. It's a document that allows us to create conversation, to go deeper, and it covers a lot of what we're talking today about. And so I just want to throw that out there. And here's how you get it. You got to go and follow myself and Don on Instagram. So you go to Aaron Zapata, AARON ZAPATA. Or if you are following Don Jacks, you go to Coach Don Jacks.
Or both of us.
And send us a DM.
Yep.
Say, can you send me a copy of the buyer consultation? We will send that to you as our gift to you for being a valuable listener.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great idea. Great idea. I love hearing that.
DJ, tell me, why in the world do we want to sit down with a buyer and have this consultation?
Well, there's a number of reasons, and I think we should talk about all of them, but most importantly is an education point of view from us to the buyer, right? I mean, of course, there's benefits to us. We get to qualify. We get to ask questions. We get to learn exactly what the buyer needs and wants, but most importantly, we get a chance to walk the buyer through the entire program allow them to ask questions, right? Because something's on their mind,
Yeah.
and feel like they're in a safe spot to do so before they jump off a cliff.
Right.
I mean, it's a big deal.
It is.
It's a big deal. I mean, here in California, we're working with first-time home buyers that are looking at $1 million homes
Signing up for a $5,000 a month mortgage.
or better.
Yeah.
Or better
Yeah.
with the interest rates. And it's a big deal. So setting the expectations for the clients, what they can expect in the transaction, understanding their expectations, their needs, their wants, their reasons, is a big opportunity for us to do that.
Yeah.
And I think we miss that by just jumping out and seeing properties and not
Yeah.
spending the time to go through that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
And let me say this. We'll go through it at one point or another. It might just be in bite-sized pieces in the next 90 to 180 days.
yeah.
Why not get it done in 30 to 60 minutes and
Right.
have that conversation and handle so many obstacles up front by going through the process? It saves a lot of time, heartache, and issues down the line.
Absolutely nailed it on the head. Because you're going to fumble through it in real life as it happens, or you're going to pace them ahead of time. You're going to future pace them. You're going to sit down with them and say, this is what's going to happen.
Yes.
And when it does, this is how we're going to respond.
That's right.
And when somebody has that kind of preliminary understanding, when you get to obstacles or you get to pivot moments within a transaction or in a buyer's process, if you haven't done that consultation, all of a sudden you look so unprofessional.
You lose the right to say, remember when we talked about,
because there's no remember
I
when.
can't say it, right? If it didn't happen, you've got to have the conversation up front. You got to.
Yeah.
Now, listen, if somebody calls you and wants you to go show them this house and they have cash and they're ready to go and come right now, do your due diligence, be safe, and please go sell the house, right? I don't want to, by any means, say this is the only way to sell a house.
Sure.
In 92.7% of the time, this is the route to take because it makes most sense, not only for you, most importantly for the client.
Yeah.
And then you get to set the next appointment so elegantly.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited to get going and get started with you guys. Now that you have the game plan, we know exactly what to do. Your search is all set up. You've been connected with Laura, the lender. You understand the process. You guys are ready to go. I'm excited. When should we go look? Are you guys free tomorrow, or is Saturday the right time for us?
Right.
Yeah.
It's all about the relationship.
It is.
And we as a professional community have to do a better job at guiding buyers through the emotional roller coaster as well as the physical transaction, the paperwork, the showing of homes, the writing of offers. Yeah. If we don't walk them through and ahead of time, we are literally making it up as we go along.
We are. And unfortunately, talking to tons of agents about this and seeing it, so often we don't look prepared. We can't help them do what they want to do. It's bad look for us if we're not setting the expectations and showing them the path, right? Not just telling them, showing them the path. We're again professionals doing a job for our clients, and I think agents phone it in sometimes and are almost arrogant is the wrong word, but I'm going to use the word arrogant in their approach because they've done it so often, or all of the negative connotations that agents have, buyers are liars, or I only work with the top echelons of qualified buyers whatever that is. Yep. We need to level up our buyer presentation and the whole process, as you just said.
Well, and that whole process starts with asking the question to sit down. We need to sit down and get together.
I love that question.
That way you're setting an expectation that we're going to meet together. And this is not to look at the home. This is to talk about what that process is going to be like. And then when you are doing it, you want to present them something in writing. I was at a meeting this week and someone says, I'm allergic to paper. I don't like to print out anything in paper. I think this is a good idea to have something in paper. in writing, printed out, that they can take notes on, that you can hand them to, that they can look back as a reference tool. You're going to say, keep this as your reference tool as we go through this. And you're also going to do it in person, and then you're also going to do it with all of the parties that are making the decision to buy.
That's right. That's right.
So if it's a couple, you need both people there.
That's right.
If it's a couple and their parents, you need their parents there.
That's right.
Because how many times have you been out there and heard stories or have it happen to yourself where, the kids buy the house and mom and dad come and enter into escrow and they go into the home inspection and they kill the deal?
Too often than we'll ever really know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's no fun. It's no fun for the seller. It's no fun for the buyers. So if you have a decision maker, make sure they're in the room.
In the room. And I think there's an alternative. Some people are zoomed out. Some people still use Zoom and video conferencing for good, right?
Yeah.
This is something that can be done over the computer.
Hey,
we can spend 20, 30 minutes and do it this evening if you guys are okay getting on Zoom with us. Is your mom and dad available? Will they be with you? However that goes. But yes, have mom and dad there if they're part of the decision-making process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of, housekeeping things for you as you are planning these consultations. Be professional, have a presentation, know what you're going to say, and have a plan. What's the goal at the end of the consultation, Don? You always have to start with that in mind. The end of the buy-side consultation, what's the goal?
2 goals. 1, educate the client so all of their current questions and then some have been answered. And I'll say 3, actually. 2 is the homework or the next steps that the clients need to take in the process, along with what I'm going to do with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then number 3, of course, in every appointment, every conversation with a client from this point forward is to set the next appointment. Yeah. When are we getting together? What is the next step? And putting an agreement and deadline, and then, of course, following up and holding to that schedule.
That's it. You have to educate. You have to set the next steps for both parties, all parties involved. Here's what I'm going to do, and here's what you're going to do.
That's right.
And then when we get back together again, which is step 3, should be done, and we're going to go look at properties.
Yeah. We never leave a situation without being able to say the next steps are.
The next steps are.
Right.
That's right.
That's it.
Yeah, because that leads them down the path. And so many times we fail as a professional when we're finishing up that conversation and say, well, why don't I give you a call next week? Not, I will call you next week. Well, why don't we get together? And once you have this stuff done, I'll call you and I'll set up some searches. No, it's I'm going to go ahead and set up a multiple listing search. It's going to be to you by tonight or tomorrow. And then once you get it, we're going to review it, and we're going to, and always that's the next step.
That's right.
Just go there.
Yes.
Know where you're going so you can lead them with you.
And this goes back to the conversation we were having earlier today. We, the agents, need to know the next steps, the numbers, where the calculator is, how to get a hold of Laura, the lender, and that's so basic for so many of us.
Yeah.
But man, you realize that not all of us have that process down to a science.
Yeah.
You've got to know it. So keep educating yourself and getting better at this process.
Yeah. I'm going to do a shameless plug here because you keep mentioning Laura, the lender. And he is actually referring to Laura, who works at Crosswalk Mortgage, which she does a fantastic job here in California.
Phenomenal lender.
You want to talk to her. So a shameless plug there for Laura.
It is great for role play, though, Laura the lender. It's
true.
Fantastic.
It is true. It is true.
Yeah.
If you're tuning in right now, you are listening to The Real Impact Show. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Aaron Zapata. This is Don Jacks with me.
Great to be with you guys. Also, let's take a turn. Pivot as a listing agent.
Yeah.
You see hundreds, if not thousands, of offers a year. Thank you, COVID.
Yeah.
The silver lining and the curse, one of them. There's been hundreds and thousands of offers coming through. As a buyer's agent, we have the buyer consult. We have the buyer out looking at homes. They find a property that they absolutely want to offer on. They love. What are some tips to be able to get that offer accepted from the listing agent's point of view? Tips you can give the buyer's agents out there writing great offers.
Well, I will say this. your number one goal is to build rapport when possible with the listing agent.
Just like a client.
As the agent, your job is to build rapport with the listing agent. And the reason that is elevated is because I can't tell you, I can't even count the number of times when that has been the deciding factor between the acceptance and the rejection of two different offers. If we had good rapport and we had good communication and we had a general sense that this is a professional we're working with, we have suggested that offer over the other offer if all we have to go on is the other offer is high in price, but we can't get a hold of the agent. We don't know who the lender is. So knowing and having good rapport with the listing agent is going to go very, very far in getting your buyer's offer accepted. So I'm looking at my track record here, Don.
Is that what that is?
This is, yeah. So I take this on my listing appointments. This is the last 101 properties that I've sold.
Okay.
As the representing the seller. We have reviewed 966 offers. 966 offers.
That's phenomenal.
Which tells me only 101 buyers out of 966 made the cut.
800 and some odd are
rejected. Yeah, right. So I'm speaking, that's my experience, okay, in looking at offers. So let's just kind of go down the list. Number one, you want to ask the listing agent, what is the seller looking for? It's not always about price.
That's right.
Sometimes, they absolutely love the chandelier, and they're going to take it with them. And it even says it in the multiple listing service. But if you haven't called the agent, just clarify that that's correct, and then written your offer accordingly, everybody else in the pile may have just submitted a normal offer, and you're the only one that says, you keep the chandelier. Okay? So you have to ask what the seller's looking for. I had a very unique situation recently when I represented the buyer.
I was wondering if you were going to tell the story. Yeah.
So I can't.
This goes under the category of be unique with your offerings.
Yeah.
What do you have that nobody else can offer?
Yeah. So my client, I can't name names or organizations, but he worked for a clothing company. And
major.
Yeah. I mean, you guys would know who it is. And he was able to give some discounts. And so in the offer, we just basically said, if this offer is accepted upon closing within 30 days, we'll get you into the company store and we'll give you an amazing discount on as much as you want to buy. And I can't tell you how many times we heard about that specific bullet point on our, process that was literally one of the deciding factors. We were not the highest offer.
There's the zinger right there.
Yeah. And because I asked my client, I'm like, can you do this? And he says, sure, if you think it'll help. And I'm like, we don't know until we try. Yeah. And so the seller loved it. The seller benefited from that. And it was good. And it created a great dynamic because we had connection in and outside of the escrow. After the escrow, everybody got together and was hanging out and talking, and it was really good. It was really good. But that did it for the listing, the listing. Sorry, that did it for the seller.
That's great.
So find out what the seller's looking for. Number two, when you're submitting your offer, make sure your offer is complete, well written. Make sure it's, if you can, one PDF attachment. We recently had.
We know the difference between what a bank statement looks like and what the RPA looks like.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. We don't need 18 different attachments.
That's right.
We recently had one done that had links to her iCloud account. And so it wasn't even in the email. It was
go to the
click
iCloud.
The link, go to the iCloud, download it. Then needless to say, that offer did not get accepted.
So the bumper sticker quote here is make it easy.
Make it easy.
Make it easy.
That's right. That's right. And number three is follow up, but don't be annoying. Hey, did you get my offer? Are you sure you got my offer? I sent it over. I haven't heard from you. My client wants to know answer. It's just, if you're that way when making the offer and going through the negotiation process, you may annoy the listing agent to the point where they just don't want to work with you or your client.
It's possible.
It is, and we've had this saying in our office that we hate it when a great deal gets ruined by an annoying agent.
Mm.
You know, you can have a great deal, but the agent just gets in the way.
That's right.
Our job is not to get in the way. Our job is to figure out what it takes to get the offer accepted and then make that happen and then get out of the way. Yeah. If I'm a resident buyer, I'm not buying the house.
That's right.
I need to get the job done for my client.
They're the hero. We're the guide through the situation.
We're just the guide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about the client.
Yeah.
Both sides, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but we're here to take care of the client first.
Yeah. Well, Don, we've left some really big value in this episode already.
I think we have, but I have one more. Do you have anything else on that list?
No, that's so far. I mean, those are the top 3. Yeah. So go ahead.
No, one more. Beyond all of this, I want to go back to caring about people over the closed deal by qualifying, being curious, asking great questions. There's tons of scripts out there. Wherever you want to go, you'll find the questions. Do you care enough to ask the questions? Do you care enough to peel the onion back and ask the tough questions when necessary and get the information we need to help them accomplish their goals? Yeah. And you only do that. You don't do that if you don't care, right? You don't find out why they need the 4th bedroom or whatever the situation is. I just wanted to say that for people that are new to us and just listening to us, sometimes we get carried away with the tactics of it all. I'll care about people, and this stuff comes easy and is modified more easily for you when you're putting people first.
Yeah. And when you're asking those questions and being curious for your client, asking your client those questions, and then of the listing agent, you know, there's some key questions to ask, and I want you to write these down if you don't know. What's the seller looking for? There we go. Is there anything excluded in the contract that I should exclude? Do they need a rent back? When's the closing date? Do they have a preferred closing date? Who are the vendors? Who are the service providers? And should I write in, seller's choice, or how should I do that? Different states, you can have a different title company for the seller and a different title company for the buyer. So it's obviously important to know those things. Are they offering a home warranty? You want to know if there's any other offers on the property. And the reason you want to know all that stuff is because you can then go and you can counsel your buyer.
Yes.
Hey, buyer, here's a conversation I had with the listing agent. They have an offer on the property. They want to close in 30 days. They need a 2-week rent back at your holding cost. They want to leave the refrigerator, but they want to take something else. And, they're offering a home warranty, but it's going to be as is, no repairs. So we need to write our offer now according to those terms.
That's right.
Because when we submit that package, it may be the only chance that we have.
That's right.
And I can tell you a lot of agents think, we'll get a counteroffer. They start making commitments to their clients. The client, well, I only want to make full price offer. Great. I get it. Let's do it. But keep in mind, this might be the only chance. Well, you don't think they'll counteroffer? Oh, well, they might. Or the other agent, of course they will.
Or they might not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we have to, and I always say this to my buyers who don't like to be in bidding wars and stuff like that. I say, I appreciate where you're coming from. I understand. At the end of the day, I can't tell you what price you should pay for this home. I can tell you that if you want this home tomorrow, that this is the price that you will be paying. And that's a really compassionate, clarifying statement.
That's right.
I say, if you want to wake up tomorrow knowing you have your earnest money going to escrow, we know where that has to be. I can't tell you if you should do it or not. That's never my decision.
That's always your decision.
Yeah. I try to remove myself.
That's right.
I try to deflate the emotion.
That's right.
This is purely transactional. I know you love the house. I'm glad you love it. But let's just talk about basics. Here's the number. Are you guys okay with that? And pause. And wait. And let them answer it.
That's right. Let them process and answer that question. And then move on. And that's the right way to approach it.
Yeah. And if they're not, no problem.
That's right.
But if they come back tomorrow and they say, you mean if we had just gone $5,000 more, it would have been ours? Oh, yeah. I mean, you have to take into account, you're renting, you're paying, holding a cost where you're at. How much does it cost to delay a decision? What if prices continue to go up? Is it going to cost you more down the road? There's all those other kind of, contemplations that we should discuss, but not to the extent that you're convincing them against their will to do it.
That's right. Great point.
Yeah.
Great point. No better place to end than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we want you to succeed with buyers, and we want you to come back here and listen to the show. Every week, we are putting out a new episode. We rebranded the Aaron Zapata podcast from earlier episodes. So if you are tuning in brand new, welcome to the new show. If you have been a longtime listener, welcome to the new show.
Yes.
Don and I want to talk about things that are pertinent to what's going on right now in the industry. And if you are a top producing agent and you are listening to this and you think, man, I'd like to talk to those guys, I have something to add or contribute to the conversation, reach out to us. Again, the best way to do that is to go follow us on Instagram.
Yes.
Send us a direct message. Tell us that you listen to the podcast so we don't delete your if you try to email or text somebody or contact them through Instagram and they're not following you.
That's right.
It goes in that other spot.
Uh-huh.
And
it might sit there a while.
It might sit there a while. So just let us know that you heard us on the podcast.
That's right.
And that you're following up on something that we said so we can get back to you. So with that, I think we are done for this episode.
Go get those buyers. Go serve them, guys. Have a great time.
You've been listening to the Real Impact Show with Aaron Zapata and Don Jacks. With 50 years of combined years of real estate experience packed into each and every episode. Please like us, subscribe, and share this episode if you found it helpful. Thanks for listening. God bless. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye for now.